Welcome to Fanboy and Snob Reviews,
Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers,
The Two Towers.
the second one.
Now you made me suffer through another movie.
You enjoyed it.
I I will say I think this movie is the Clone Wars of Lord of the Rings.
Wow, I think the exact opposite. I think this is the Empire Strikes Back of the three movies.
Hmm.
My favorite's The Fellowship, just because
That there's a big difference between these movies. The Fellowship was more of like a
it
whimsical,
was upbeat.
yeah, and this one was just dour. Like
This is like everybody's in trouble constantly. Look,
unless you're fucking Pippin and
Mary.
Mary at the end, towards the end, just
Yeah,
riding on the tree the whole time.
but they were stuck. Remember when they almost got eaten by that tree?
Yeah,
It
that's
was fucking
ugh.
sketchy.
That was brutal when you see like the foot get cut and you're like,
Yeah.
ooh, that hurts.
Then it sucked them in, and then Shooter's like, "Stop it! Go away from here."
That's a bad tree.
Water, soil, and sun. That's what you eat. Fruit. Reader's voiced by Gimli.
Oh, I
Yeah.
could see it.
The movie starts like almost like a quick recap of the first one.
Yeah, it shows it like pretty much does the whole zoom through the mountains thing, all you hear is Gandalf
Yeah,
talking.
it shows you the mountains, and then it shows you Moria. Then it shows you, you shall not pass.
So cool still.
And then, fly, you fools. And then and then it cuts to Gandalf like catches his
Now
sword.
this did he use like wizard powers to go
Yeah.
that was
Oh
cool.
yeah, that whole fight was like I said, these movies do the magic real subtle. That whole fight with like when Gandalf gets knocked off and then he's just right like grabs him, gets right back to it.
He's propelling himself forward.
Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah, that was badass.
that was such a good scene. And then,
How many times do you need to let her out?
so he winds up fighting the Balrog all the way up to the top of a mountain. Or no, what do we see?
No, they fall down to the
Oh yeah, the water, and then it cuts away, right?
Oh, does Balrog have wings?
Yeah, but they're like
I like to think it was too tight of a space for him to get his wings up.
they're so Gandalf chooses to look like an old man wearing gray. He could look like whatever he wants. He's right below God, Or not, well, there's God, and then there's like the gods, and then there's Gandalf. Like Iluvatar built the world and then made these gods for it to live in, and then the gods made Gandalf and the elves and all them. But yeah, so the Balrog choose chose to look like a giant winged demon. When in like books and other artwork, sometimes he's just flame. He's described as flame and shadow. Like
Uh,
you can never really see what it is because it's just flame and shadow.
so just choose the most intimidating thing.
They did it also for the movie because that design looks fucking rad.
Yeah,
So
I do love that scene of just an old man just being like, ah, ah.
I like when he's on it. It just
It's fucking nuts to think like every strong person in this universe could not do that.
no one can do
With
that.
Gandalf, the old fuck.
Gandalf, fucking gray, man, and that was Gandalf the Gray. I mean,
We haven't gotten there yet. And then it goes to Frodo and Sam
yep.
being followed.
And I think they cross into more. They don't cross into Mordor, but they're like right there. They're looking at Mordor in the distance. And I love how in the first movie, whenever they show Mordor, it's just like kind of gray with like little bits of lightning. And then you see it this time, and it's like red sky, red and black skies with constant lightning and fire spitting out. And it's like, yep, Sauron's getting more powerful.
Fucking feeding mad trees.
Yeah, dude. And
Poor trees.
poor Beard. That moment when he sees, and he's just like, these trees were my friend.
I just talked to them 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. And the forest is moving. I have no. What did he say? Whatever. He says a cool line about like I have to meet Sauron or something, or Saruman has to deal with me now. And he was like starts walking forward. So cool.
No, in this scene, this is when we get introduced to probably one of my
we
favorite
get
characters.
we get introduced to him in the first one, kind of like tertiary. He's like like
Just there.
in the mine, you see him. There's that scene when they're camped on the river and he's like floating by on the log trying to hide. And like Boromir's like, we should kill him. And like Aragorn is like, dude, he is the best alarm system we have. If he starts freaking out, it means we're in danger, you know? It's like, yeah, all right, that makes sense. If he's running, that means orcs are nearby.
Yeah.
Gollum hates orcs.
And then so yeah, event. Oh yeah, and the cool rope. Where he's like, Lady Galadriel gave me that.
He's like, I guess there's no use for it now. And he's like, and the thing just.
And then Frodo's looking at him like, Sam, what the fuck? But it's like, no, that's the magic of that rope. You can just
And Frodo's like, real elven rope, huh?
yeah,
It's like, you stupid hobbits.
looking at it. God, they're so innocent, you know? God damn it. Yeah, I love these movies. So then
This is where they ambush Gollum.
well, it turns out they're walking in circles, remember? They
Yeah.
figure out they're walking in circles and they're like, we're fucking lost in we're lost and we don't know where the fuck we're going. And then Gollum tries to attack him, but they jump him and they beat the shit out of him.
Shit out when they restrain him.
No,
Actually, Gollum gets some swing.
they
on
got
Sam.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They really went to town on each other. And it wasn't until Frodo drew his sword and put it to his throat that he gave up. He had salmon and Nelson and he was choking it, you know. So they tie Gollum up and he's just like and he's like and just like walking behind them.
Imagine filming that, just having like Andy Serkis just on the rope, making all
Yeah.
those noises, flailing. Like, how good are they to keep a straight face?
Because they're all professional. That's another thing about this movie. Everyone in it is there's only one bad actor and they're in this movie. Everyone else was amazing.
Yeah,
Even Orlando Bloom, who just kind of stood there and stared.
he had a
but,
lot
like,
more lines in this.
I told
movie.
you, I told you.
The first movie, he didn't talk at all. So he
Yeah.
was just kind of there.
He was just kind of there watching. Well, because now he's got a friend. Him and Gimli became friends.
Yeah. I like their little competition throughout the whole movie.
They have, well, you know, I can't let an elf beat me. I'm a dwarf, you know?
Like that'd be us if we're who would killed more people than you. You would be the bitch with a
Now we're even. And then you're like, fucking my axe. But how did Gimli know what a nervous system is? Anyway. Yeah, cinema sin. Yeah, anyway, what happens next?
Well, we're still with Gollum. They
Oh,
end
yeah.
up like talking to him and they let him go and he's like, I'll lead you to
Yeah,
Mordor.
because doesn't Frodo call him Schmeagol?
Not yet.
Not
This
yet.
is later on.
Yeah. Oh, this is when they're still being mean to him, or at least Sam's still being really mean to him.
Yeah, this is when Gollum's like,
I can take you the way you're going.
I know a secret way. I know how to get there without being in trouble. And then they're like, well, fuck, we don't know the way. So
and Sam's like, don't do it. And Frodo's like, yeah, but come on.
come on, man. He's harmless.
It's fucking Gollum.
Fucking Gollum, dude. He's survived for thousands of years.
He has ring sympathy. He knows the pain.
Yeah.
He's
that is-
seeing
I
Gollum and he's
did-
like,
I did like that scene where
Yeah.
he's like, dude, that's gonna be me. Like, you don't get it.
but after that, we have Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, right? They're all going on their merry way.
They're on the hot pursuit of the orcs that took
Well, they're trying to find Pippin and Merry at
Yeah.
this point.
because Merry and Pippin got captured by the orcs at the end of the
That's
movie.
fucking Aragorn putting his ear to the ground. He's like,
Yeah.
they've gone this way.
Ear to the ground, eyes closed. They've turned east.
Now, I need to ask you this.
What?
What difference are the original humans to the humans like that came later? Why are they so much stronger?
The original humans?
Like Aragorn, why does he like
'Cause he-
such a
'Cause
strong
he
human?
was. They were like created kind of like the elves by like God.
Yeah.
And they were on this island and they were like the biggest, strongest fucking army, and all their people are like they're just better. They're just better. That's all it is. And then when their island got blown up by Sauron, who was posing as not Celebrimbor. No, Celebrimbor made the ring. Who was Sauron posing as? I don't know. I didn't read this film at all, so I had to have that like TLDR'd for me. So I was like, I'm not about to fucking wade through this. But yeah, they're just better blood, you know.
That'd be cool to be them.
Hmm.
That's the thing. Like he's 87. He looks like that. How much longer do the elves live compared to him?
Infinitely.
So they're like,
They are elves live until they die, until you kill them or they just want to die.
oh, great. crazy.
Yeah, and they never get sick. They don't really need to sleep, you know? They're so cool.
Oh, I still wouldn't want to be an elf. They're little bitches.
Yeah. Nah, they're really cool.
They're bitches.
What's his head? Fucking cured. Why do I forget his name? King of the Elves.
Oh, Orion.
Why do I forget?
Elrond.
Elron, yeah. Elron Hubbard. Elron cured that Morgul blade wound. And Aragorn was like, I can't even fix this. And he did it because he's a fucking cool ass wizard, man.
How do you say this name?
Rohirrim.
Warheim. Which one's he?
The Rohirrim is the Rohirrim, the army of Rohan.
Okay.
So then Aemir is Carl Urban.
Yeah. All right. So after we get the whole Pippin and all them stuff,
You're skipping the best part. We haven't had nothing but maggoty bread for 3 stinking days.
all right, let's restart this thing. Restart the scene.
Okay, so it cuts to Merry and Pippin, and Merry's hurt. Pippin's concerned. He's like, he needs water or whatever, and the Orcai pour that disgusting like watery chocolate syrup.
Yeah, take your out.
Yeah, and they all laugh at him, and then they're like, "Shut the fuck up, or we'll kill you." And then they're like, "Okay." And then the Urks run into some regular orcs, and the regular orcs are like, "Give it to Hobbit," and he's like, "No, these are going to Saruman unharmed." And they're like, "Okay, whatever." And then they smell. What do you smell? Man flesh. And then they're like, "Fuck!" So they all run together away. And then it's nighttime, and they're camped outside Fangorn Forest.
No, but you're missing the funny part where he's like, I want the meats. And
Yeah. That's they're camped outside Fangorn Forest, and the orcs are like, God damn it, we need a break. We're not letting take another step. And then the Orcai is like, all right, fine. And then they're all hanging out, and then one of the Orcai goes, we haven't had nothing to eat but maggoty bread for 3 stinking days. And then it cuts to an orc, and he's like, man, why can't we? And then
the fucking Weasley orcs are
Yeah.
hilarious in this movie.
I know. And then yes, they are. They're so fucking funny. And then the Orcai's like, they're like, whatever, fuck off. The head Orcai guy is like, I don't care. And then that one goblin orc is like, what about them? They look like good eaten. And he's like, they're not for eating.
What about the legs? They don't need them no
They
more.
don't need their legs. And I love the way it's like being Merry and Pippin shoes. You're like, fuck. I mean, I guess I'm on the Orcai's team here. Like, this is weird.
You should totally listen to these guys.
Yeah. Like they actually like when the lead Urkai steps in front of them, they like get behind him. They're like, okay.
And then they get lucky because the other guy fucking pounces forward and he gets his head chopped off.
Meat's back on the menu, boys.
How many of them are there?
There's like 30 of
one
them, and they
body.
just go in and just start ripping his guts out and tearing him apart and eating him.
That's when Pippin and Mary are like, oh my god, we need to leave.
And they start to like scurry away. And then that one goblin that was like, what's the meat? Say whatever, finds them, and he's like, no one will care if I kill you. And then fucking spear to the chest.
That was
Fucking,
badass.
we don't really see what happens. And then a horse is about to kill Pippin, and then it cuts away.
Yeah. Now this scene's not next. I think I have it out of order.
No, because it comes back again. They explain what happens after the horse rears up later on in the movie.
All right. So this is when, how do you say it?
Rohirrim.
Ambushes the orcs.
Yeah.
Pippin and Arryn escape. Yeah. So that's what happens after.
Yeah. But no, we think they're dead because then Aragorn runs into the Rohirrim, right? Because they can't track the Uruk-hai anymore because they're like, what the fuck? And then the horse lords go riding past them.
Yeah.
And they step out and they're like, hey, Riders of Rohan, what's up? No, we're skipping the whole part in the castle with Theoden.
Yeah, they go to Fangorn Forest.
No, you're missing the whole thing where it shows Airmere getting kicked out, right?
Yeah. So I have that.
Yeah, you
This
got
is-
it out of order.
Multi.
Yeah, so
So Earmore. So the next part is when Earmore.
discovers the
goes-
body of the prince,
Yeah.
right? And he brings it to his dad, King Theoden, who is an old, disgusting, frail man. And he's like, "Your son is mortally wounded," and he's like, "Where do I fucking care?" Because Grima Wormtongue
Yeah.
is fucking whispering in his
Can we
ears.
say how cool the makeup is on this guy?
Grima, both of them look so good,
Yeah.
but Grima looks like why would you ever listen to that man? He's obviously like,
I think that's why so many of them left, and they're just like, dude.
fuck this guy. Oh, and I love when he goes, "You've been banished from the kingdom," and he goes, only the king can do that," and then he holds it up, and the king's signature is like a scribble that trails off,
Yeah.
and it's like, whoa. And then he gets thrown out, and he takes 2,000 men with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, they're just like what, the traveling army going
Yeah.
against the orcs.
they're just riding around town killing shit, which is how they run into Merry and Pippin.
Yeah, and this is when
Then Aragorn and them step out and they're like, "What's up?" And then Aemir explains to them like, "Fuck the king, fuck Rohan. We're gonna fight orcs because fuck it." But hey, many names. He says 2 names out loud, and just 2 horses come walking up just by talking to them. Because like they're the horse lords. They're the best at mounted combat in the land.
we have our boy Carl Urban.
Yeah, who's amazing in everything.
He makes everything better.
Yeah,
He always kind of plays a dick sometimes, though.
I had a movie idea about him, but anyway.
I have a lot of movie ideas about him. He should have
Yeah.
played Batman. Yes.
Nah.
Yes.
So they find like the little elven thingy, and then no, Aemir tells them he was like we were tracking a group of orcs, and then he was like, "Oh, I fucking killed them over there," and then Gimli's like, "Were there hobbits?" And he was like, "Hobbits," and he goes, "They'd appear like children to you," and he goes, "I don't know, we were just killing everything."
Yeah, basically, like the 3 main guys, like Aragorn and everything, just end up coming up to them, and he's like, "We left nothing alive."
Yeah, and then they get to the giant pile, and Aragorn like, yeah, and like drops to his knees because it's like they failed so hard. In his mind, at that moment, he was like, "We're complete failures," you know.
And then who finds, because
He
when they're
finds
getting
the
dragged away, Pippin like bites his little thing off and throws it on the
Yeah.
ground.
So they find
I
that.
think Legolas finds it.
No, when Aragorn drops to his knees and he's like, "Ah," and he puts his hands on the ground, he notices and he's like, "What the fuck?" And he like follows the trail into
Make
the
of
woods.
gods.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how cool the Ents are? Nobody thinks they're cool.
I thought the Ents were super cool.
I'm reading like a lot of stuff online about it. They're like the Ents about the extended cut, which we watched. I'm like,
Yeah.
the end scenes should have been cut. They're stupid.
Okay, yeah, I'll agree. The end scenes drag and they're, but like I don't
but I
care.
like
it,
the
it was cool.
characters.
Yeah, it was cool.
I actually like Pippin and Merry. They're funny.
Merry and Pippin are awesome. Treebeard's cool. Oh, the part where Treebeard tries, where they crawl into the woods, right? Merry and Pippin, and an orc followed them, so they climb up a tree, right? And Pippin's holding onto it, and then the tree's eyes open up, and he's like, "Whoa!" and falls out of the tree, and Merry is like getting pulled on by an orc, and then Treebeard stomps the orc into the ground and grabs Merry and Pippin and starts squeezing them. And they're like, "We're hobbits," and he goes, "What's a hobbit?"
He's like, I've never heard of a hobbit before.
That's how long he's been asleep, because hobbits have been around for thousands of years. So he's like, I don't know what a hobbit is. Maybe it's an orc. And he's like, "I swear, we're Shire folk." And he's like, "Oh, the Shire. Okay."
I hope the part where he's like, he's talking about how like were they the last of the Ents,
Yeah.
and he's like, where'd they go?
The
they're-
tree women. We lost the tree women. How'd they die?
No, but Pippin's like, oh, how did it happen? He's like,
We don't.
we don't know. We lost them.
We lost. Like, okay.
It's like the most vicious idiots in the world.
When they kill things, it's brutal.
Fucking just hucking rocks and stuff.
What about the one where he grabs 2 of them and he just slams them together
Yeah.
and drops them? And it's like,
I
holy
love the designs of them too. They were pretty rad.
I like how each tree, like when they have the council, each tree is represented: chestnut, birch, willow.
Yeah.
Like,
That was cool.
yeah. Anyway, so Grima Wormtongue is brainwashing Theoden. Theoden doesn't care. Aemir confronts Grima to be like, "What do you get out of this?" And then that's when we see Eowyn walk by, and he like stares at her, and she's like, "Fuck you," and walks away. And then that's when Aemir is like, gets him by the face and is like, "Don't you fucking touch my sister," which was awesome. And that's when he gets banished. And then So they figure out where the hobbits are, and they go into the woods to find the hobbits, and like the trees are making noises and stuff.
Is this the three of them?
Yeah,
The scene was so cool.
and Gimli is like got his axe out, and then Legolas is like, the trees are talking.
He's
and,
like, lower your axe.
oh yeah, and he's like, ooh, and he puts his axe down,
Love
and
Ghibli.
right, and then they're walking, and then Legolas stops, and he goes,
The expensive Salomon.
yeah, he's like, Saruman approaches, and then
This is another thing you're gonna have to explain in a sec.
Aragorn stops, and he's like, okay, we have to hit him fast. And Legolas starts knocking an arrow. Gimli gets his throwing axe ready. Aragorn is like crouched low. And then 1, 2, 3, and knocks the axe out of the air, knocks the arrow,
Burns his
burns
sword.
his sword.
I love the facial expression
Yeah.
on Aragorn too.
Just like, "Gah!" Right? And then it's like they're about to die, and it's like this blinding white light because the white wizard has shown up.
And they did a cool job showing it might be his face, but it's Gandalf's
Yeah.
face.
And then it's revealed it's Gandalf, and they're like, Gandalf? And he's like, yes, that's what they called me, Gandalf.
Now,
Gandalf the Grey, but I am Gandalf the White.
now this is supposedly who was in the thing for like what, hundreds of years?
Yeah, when he died on the top of the mountain, he said he didn't say hundreds of years. He said 100 of Earth lives. So like hundreds of times the Earth was created and destroyed. Like he lived that in a split second, and then Iluvatar was like, "Nah, I need you to go back. I need a white wizard. Go back. You're awesome. I need you."
Now, so he's resurrected into the body that should have been Salomon, the bad one, right?
He's just the new white wizard. That's why when they go, "We thought you were Saruman," and he goes, "I am Saruman," or as Saruman should be.
yeah.
You know, like he is the white wizard now. And then he tells like, "I fought him to the lowest pit and to the highest peak, and in the end I smote his ruin upon the mountainside." And it cuts to Gandalf holding his sword into the air, and lightning strikes it, and then he shoots the lightning at the Balrog, and it flows through him.
Cool.
And then the Balrog, I like when the Balrog falls and like the fire goes out, he kind of crumbles into ash.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
It's one a movie on Gandalf and like limited power.
Yeah.
Blast, blast, blast.
He smote his ruin upon the mountainside. Such a cool way to say I killed someone.
And then after that, they go to
Edoras. He tells him to go to Edoras, which is the capital of Rohan, which is supposed to have roofs thatched with gold. Not thatched roofs, but whatever.
yeah. But he's like, look to the east, and you will see me in
Yeah.
3 weeks or something like that.
He says that later when they're the four of them, right?
yeah.
They go to Edoras. Oh, Shadowfax, that
Oh yeah.
wolf.
They go to Edoras, and he has to do the exorcism thing.
Yeah, where they walk in and they're like, "All right, we're gonna need to take all your weapons." And Aragorn takes like a sword out, a dagger, his bow, another dagger. Gimli's like giving axes. Legolas is like the hands the knives. And then they walk in, or no, and then the guy's like, "And you?" And he's like, "You wouldn't." And Gandalf's got the gray cloak on, and he's like, "You wouldn't deny an old man his walking stick." And then that guy's like, "You're right, I wouldn't." And they go in, and then Gandalf, Grim and Wormtongue, like is like, "Get the fuck out of here!" And Theoden's like, "I don't care about you," and they're like, "Whatever." And Gandalf starts to do the exorcism, right? He starts walking forward with his staff out.
Why wouldn't you ask him to get rid of the staff?
Yeah, and then the guards go to jump him, and you just see Legolas just, just deck a guy.
Dude, the three of them whooped. There was like 12 of them.
I like the part where Aragorn runs in front of Gandalf, gets low, grabs the guy by the waist, and lifts him up and slams him down. It's like, you fucking football tackled that guy. That was awesome.
That was a cool scene
And
just in
then-
general. So you have all you have is fucking Gandalf walking forward.
Forward.
Slowly.
And then it's like, "You're just a gray wizard." And then, boom, I'm Gandalf the White. And like everyone, and Grima tries to get away, and Gimli like trips him and like sits on him. He's like, "You're not going anywhere."
Solomon's like, I'll take him and you with me.
Yeah.
Gandalf's like, no.
I release you. And then Saruman's like, "Oh."
It's knocked back, his head's bleeding and
Yeah.
everything. That was so awesome.
And then Theoden slowly starts to de-age.
I love the way they did
And
that.
then he's like, I know your face. You know?
Breathe your first free breath and whatever.
Yeah. King Theoden of Rohan.
Fucking Theoden, dude. He's a bitch.
He's awesome. Are you kidding me?
He's such a bitch.
Anytime he gives a speech, they win. Anytime he gives a speech, they win.
He's a bitch.
He's the best. Better than fucking who did we see? Better than Denethor, the steward of Gondor.
Yeah, he's up.
He was an asshole.
But this is where Wormwind tries to
Wormtongue.
escape and
Worm tongue.
Worm. What do I call him? Wormwind.
Yeah. Oh no.
Wormwind's a better
Oh,
name.
what is Gandalf like? Take your and he's like I don't feel like a king or whatever, and he's like, take your sword and you'll feel like a goddamn king. And
Yeah.
and it's like I have the power, you know. And then it cuts to Grim Wormtongue falling down a staircase, and Théoden like gonna kill him, and then Aragorn's like, enough killing has been done.
bloodshed.
Yeah, on his account. And then Aragorn reaches his hand out to help him because he's the nicest man in the world. And Grimace spits on his hand. You see Aragorn like, ew.
That actually was
Yeah,
great.
I think it looked genuine. It was like, nah.
Imagine if that was just improv. And he was like, God
Dude,
damn
he's
it.
such a good actor.
Yeah.
Like that was like believable.
We gotta do a video on the history of violence.
Yeah.
By the way.
And then Grimace's like, get away from me, and he just runs away.
He finds a horse and just books it.
Yeah, and he goes straight to Saruman. And,
What a bitch.
he's hiding there because he's a pussy.
This is when Theoden gets all his people to flee to
Theoden learns about the army of Oryx.
like a bitch.
Tens of thousands.
And they go to Helm's Deep.
Why would that be the bitch move? You can't fight in Edoras, I think.
Fight, bro.
Wait, what?
Don't be a bitch.
No, that was okay. What can men do against such reckless hate?
Don't be bitches.
You would be the worst king. Hey, you know the city we can't really defend? We should just fight anyway.
Hey guys, I'll be up here.
Yeah.
You need to go down and fight these people.
He fought with them. He got stabbed. And then he was the first guy out during the final charge. He's a badass king.
But Helm's Deep is what? Their big fortress, big castle.
Yeah. So Saruman tells the Dale folk, who are like crazy savage mountain men, to start raiding Rohan's villages. And Helm's Deep was like, at one point, the Dale folk like captured Edoras and like had pushed them all the way back to Helm's Deep. And there's this guy Helm. He was king of Rohan at the time. That's his horn. That was his horn, the horn of Helm, and his nickname was Hammerhand because he killed a man with a single punch. He killed the Dale King with a single punch when he tried to rape his daughter. So he was just like, he took him outside. He was like, I don't fight in my hall, but let's go outside for a second. And he goes outside, and as the guy's drawing his sword, he just walks up and kills him with a punch. They're making an anime about him. It's gonna be, yeah,
That's cool.
or an animated movie. I don't know if it's gonna be anime style, but yeah. So that's like his base, and like he designed it, and it's super awesome.
We talk about how great some of the fighting in this movie where it's just people going
Yeah,
throwing flat punches and everything.
yeah. Like when you're that just like sword in hand, just decking an orc in the face.
They make it realistic. So a lot of these stupid fantasy movies, they try to like flourishes. And all
Yeah,
that
no,
stupid-
like I said, it's just like hit him once, hit him twice, move to the next. When Aragorn's running up the stairs, he stabs the guy and punches him off his sword and then keeps going.
So cool.
I know.
Okay, so after that, this is when Aragorn gets his second crush.
Yeah, that
Or
little
the
girl.
girl who's the second crush on him.
Pretty sure in the book she's supposed to be like
What's
a
her name?
teenager.
Eowyn.
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 Yeah.
It would have made more sense if she was a teenager in this, because then he could just be like, yo, back off. I'm 87.
And I'm married to an elf. So
Yeah.
sorry.
It's a sad story.
Mm.
Delicious?
Nope.
How dare you not like IPAs? It's not even an IPA, it's a pale ale.
So on their way to Helm's Deep, wargs attack.
Fucking wargs. Those things
Yeah.
are ridiculous.
They're supposed to be smart, like they can talk and stuff.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't really do that in this.
it's okay though. But yeah, they're like just giant dog monsters.
You have the orcs just riding on their backs. That was a cool battle.
It does that. It does the thing that I like, where like the music's getting intense as the two armies are charging full speed at each other, and then silence, so you can just hear the collision.
Planks.
I like the one guy who, like, as he runs up just before they clash, throws his spear at it and hits it in the shoulder, and then That one guy was riding and shooting arrows over his shoulder at things. So cool.
And you have fucking Gimli fighting one that gets dropped on top of him, and he just kills it.
And he's
Then another one comes up, and he's like, "God damn it!"
no, yeah, that orc is like, and he just snap. So cool.
That's what I'm talking about. Just brutal.
Yeah. And then the third one shows up,
And that's when Aragorn like throws
Yeah,
something at
yeah,
it,
yeah.
kills it, and you see
Gets
his
it-
face go, "Oh!"
but he was still lifting him. So it's like, damn, Gimli, you're strong as fuck. Yeah, I like when they're riding into that battle, Gimli just throws himself off his horse and is like, let's go.
It's like the most excited kid trying to fight.
If you saw that, you'd be like, I'm not gonna fight that guy. He's way too into it.
Did we mention when they were running? And what was he saying?
Oh yeah, we dwarfs are natural sprinters.
Very dangerous in a short distance.
Well,
That's me.
I'm wasted on this cross country.
That's me. Like,
Because it was,
go
come
on.
on, Gimli. It's like Aragorn jumps down and like kind of lands weird, but keeps running. Legolas like floats down perfectly, and then Gimli falls.
And then, what's his name?
Theoden.
Theoden just like, come on, Gimli.
Yeah. No, that was Aragorn and Legolas. But anyway.
Oh, Legolas said,
Yeah.
"Shut up."
And then the horse riding scene where he's talking to Eowyn and he's like, some people think there are no female dwarves that we just pop out of the ground. And
He's
yeah,
like, we all kind of look the same, sound the same too.
yeah, and then she's like, ah, ha, ha, looks over her shoulder. And,
Oh, this is why this could have been a cool miniseries. You could have had more. Actually,
It's-
the length of it is kind
4 hours, it's perfect. You get to know every character, you get to know what everyone's about,
I'm
and
so
then
worried about the new one.
it's gonna suck.
Yeah. Does Peter Jackson have anything involved in it?
I hope not. Because it's like, dude, just let that thing crash and burn. Don't go down with it.
Hmm.
You're taking something written 100 years ago and trying to put modern sensibilities into it, and like regular fans are gonna see that and just be like, this is fucking stupid. And then the people who like the modern sensibilities aren't gonna like the original stuff,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like nobody's gonna like this. Stop doing that. Just stop doing it. Why do they keep doing it?
Save it for the podcast.
Ah,
It's okay. No, but in this battle, guess who might die?
Aragorn gets fucking thrown off a cliff. Sucks.
Fucking brutal. Him surviving that fall. Pretty bad.
Dunedain, bro. They're super tough.
But pretty much the next scene in the regular version, I forget what happens in the.
They go back to Edoras and explain to everyone that Aragorn died.
Yeah.
Because like what's their or no, they don't go back to Edoras, but they go meet up with the the wagon caravan. And she's like, oh, so few of you
Yeah, they go
few
to
of-
Rivendell.
Yeah, no, they wind up at Helm's Deep because the people got to Helm's Deep before they did. So the king has returned, and then she's like, wow, there's like not a lot of you left. And then it's
He's
like,
just looking around the hole.
yeah, and then
And Gimli's like,
Gimli's like, he has his helmet off, and he's like, oh, lass, you know,
he fell.
you fell.
He didn't die. He fell.
Yeah. And then his horse finds him.
This horse is so cool.
His horse is so cool.
Now that horse, that is
That's the horse
her
that,
brother's horse
that
that he let go.
yeah, from the party.
Yeah, he's like he's seen too many battles,
Yeah, and he lets him go.
and then he made a bond right there, man.
Because he talked to him in Elven.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
But then he washes upon shore and he heads back. But as he's heading back, he sees
He's the Isengard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck that. Imagine just riding up and seeing all that by
Yeah.
yourself.
Just 10,000 orcs and being like, oh, I gotta get out of here. And then he gets to Helm's Deep and he's like, we need everyone on the wall. Like, everyone that can hold a sword. Right? Like, you get to see
The little kids.
it's a little like 8-year-old kid getting a helmet put on and he's like looks like he's about to cry, and then there's like a 13-year-old boy holding like a double-handed axe, like fucking like wide-eyed and confused. God damn.
Then after that, we go to the Undying Lands.
Yeah, with Frodo
So-
and
No, this is when you have to have. No, it goes back to Elrond.
Elrond.
This is when he tells
Oh yeah, he explains that
everyone won't return, and you're just gonna be living a life of misery
yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
alone. That's fucking harsh, dude.
And he's right. He's like, what? You're gonna love him, and then he's gonna die one day, and you're gonna keep going. Like,
Yeah.
fucking come come with me to Valinor. It's super sick.
No, they can only go there this one time. Is that what it is? It's not like after she lives that, she could just be like, peace.
No, you can go to Valinor whenever you want. It's just if you will they let you in kind of deal.
Mm.
Because that's Valinor is where the gods live.
Oh, so this is like their little free pass.
Yeah, like the gods made the elves. They love the elves, so they're like, elves, your race is dying. Come live on our fucking sick continent. Like I forgot his name. Yeah. Anyway, there was one elf.
Yeah.
There was one elf who died and came back from Valinor, and he was like 3 times as powerful. To the point of where if they were like, why don't we just give this guy the ring? And it's like, well, because then they would know we have the ring and they would know what we're doing and they would send everything to kill this one guy. He fought all 9 ring wraiths by himself. And then the next time the ring wraiths saw him, they all ran away. Because this guy, this one elf, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name.
I'm a bad fan.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of names to remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. I have my list right here, just
Yeah.
in case. Okay, so this is when Galadriel convinces
Galadriel.
Elrond to honor the alliance.
Yeah, which isn't in the book, but whatever. Basically, she's like, yo, if you don't fucking step it up, we're all gonna die. And he was like, okay. Then it cuts to Treebeard and Merry and Pippin.
And they do some stuff.
They're drinking from that water that makes them grow.
That was funny.
Which is important in the book because they wind up being like the tallest hobbits ever. So when Saruman and the army of brigands come to like burn the Shire, like Sam, Merry, Frodo, and Pippin are able to like mount a rebellion, and because Merry and Pippin are so big and they've been to war before.
Oh, they stay big in the books?
Yeah.
Oh, because in this they don't stay big. Because remember at the end it has Merry like measuring up.
No,
he's
because
taller
he
again.
just drank more.
Really?
Yeah, that's the joke. Is like everything's right in the world. He drank more to make sure he was taller. That's all it is.
All
yeah.
right.
What are you doing? It's such a bad.
Oh, and this is when we get this scene. I will admit was a little too long. The scene when all the trees are
Our
kinda
meeting.
Like, yeah, meeting. It's
And
like,
it takes
oh,
all.
we just said hello.
It's like everything spoken in Entish takes a long time to say. And they're like, what the fuck? And it's like, and then we've decided you're not orcs. And then Pippin's like, but that's good news.
Mary's like,
God damn it.
what about the
What about the fucking war?
Your war does not concern us. And then Pippin's like, oh yeah? Let's go south.
Let's go south.
I like going south. It feels more downhill.
Yeah. Like, what? Okay.
You lazy tree.
Treebeard's awesome. I love how like they're walking and Treebeard's like telling like poetry, just reciting poetry.
It's his poetry.
Yeah, and he was like, "This is my own composition," and he starts telling like a love poem, and they're like, "Oh my god."
Then it just shows him asleep, and Treebeard's like, yes.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sleeping. And this is when they all just like rampage Solomon's little castle
Yeah,
and
yeah.
start throwing
The
rocks
Ents
and
go to
killing
war.
everyone.
Ooh.
Then he gets trapped in there.
Break
Saruman
the
does.
dam, release the river.
Oh, can we talk about how cool it was? One of the ends gets set on fire. Then when you see the water come down, you see the end like running into the water.
Yeah, I like how that one end gets brought down with the hooks and they start hacking it, and Treebeard bowls and
Yeah.
kills him, and he's like, "Whoa!" And then Merry and Pippin are throwing rocks, and he's like, "Good shot."
Nails one of them in the head. They were great. I don't care what he
Yeah.
says. But I just forgot what I was gonna say.
We cut to Helm's Deep, and an army of elves show up, and everyone's super stoked because the
Yeah,
alliance.
'cause they're all getting their ass kicked.
Yeah, the alliance of men and elves is back on. It's back on, dude.
We forget about how like they have that whole standoff, and then they fucking break through the doors and everything.
Yeah,
And that's when King Theoden ends up
that's
like, being
at
like,
the end of the
"That's
movie.
no."
No, because we haven't even had the Battle of Helm's Deep yet. The elves just showed up.
I thought they broke through the gates, then the elves showed up.
No, they'll show up. Yeah, because they're all standing there. And remember, Aragorn's talking to the kid, and he's like, "This is a fine sword," or whatever. And then it cuts to Aragorn like suiting up, and Legolas is like, "You're gonna die here," and he's like, "Then I'll die with them," you know. And then Gimli's trying to suit up, and he's like, "It's a little tight around the chest."
Oh, it was Elrond. No, what's his name? Carl Urban who shows up
Yeah,
with Gandalf.
that's at the
I'm
very
getting it confused.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
end.
Let's just restart this.
So yeah. So the elves show up and they're like, there was once an alliance between men and elves, and we're here to see that alliance reinstated. And Aragorn and everyone's super stoked because like
Thank fucking God.
fucking 200 elves showed up. That's awesome, right?
200 elves are better than
Like
what, 1,000
500. Yeah,
humans.
yeah, pretty much.
It's stupid like that. Especially most of them are just like common folk.
Yeah. Oh my god, like old guys like missing eyes and like little kids and stuff. Yeah.
What did they say? Most of them have seen
Too many winters or too few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, damn. Get fucked.
I do like that when Aragorn's like, then I'll die with them. And you
Yeah.
see Legolas instantly realize, like, ooh, I'm the dick in this situation. Shit.
It's like, man, I'd be going to fucking.
I could be running the fuck away. And then, oh, that scene when all like get the men and women into the cave, or the women and children into the cave, and then you hear the marching, right? And you see the army, and you're like, whoa, that's fucking scary. And then it cuts inside the cave, and all you hear is like over their heads, and like people are screaming and crying, and it's like, holy fuck, this is intense.
Fuck fighting orcs, dude. I don't care. They're intimidating as fuck.
They're huge and they scream a lot, and they're all wearing black armor.
It's like fucking Genghis Khan. They're like, just scream and be loud
Just
when you're
be
attacking.
scary, yeah. Fear is a weapon. So they all line up the two armies, and then it starts raining, and Theoden's kind of like, shit, it can't get any worse, can it?
Thunder and lightning.
Yeah.
Cracking.
And then knock, arrows or whatever. And that one guy,
It's fucking.
and then right into that orc, and then he falls forward.
Hey man, they shot first.
I know.
They could have negotiated.
But that's how no, that's how like wars like back in the day would start like that. Like just one guy,
dude be
just
like-
one guy would be like someone shoots first, and then it cuts his head, and he goes, "So it begins." And then all the orcs start running, and Aragorn tells the archers to start shooting.
I like how they did that too. They had like the archers there, then they had the ones further back once they were
That were just
all
lobbing. Yeah,
waiting.
yeah.
That
And
was
then
cool.
I like how the elves for like every one shot a human got off, the elves were like 1, 2, 3. And like you see the line of orcs, and like like hundreds of them are dying before they even get close to the wall.
Yeah, whenever they show the elves shooting, it's like ping, 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 ping.
Yeah. And then the humans are the ones that are like hitting them like 2 or 3 times before killing them.
Hey, even with the elves and the orcs, dude, they weren't going down though.
No. That was sick. And then the ladders came up.
Those ladders are awesome. Most of the time, you see medieval movies with the ladders up, it's just there, but it goes up and then it has a hook that goes.
Yeah.
That was
And
cool.
they're fucking then the berserker orcs, the shirtless ones that just jump down and like then Gimli goes, I got 2. And Legolas is like, I'm on 16.
That's when Gimli just goes.
Oh shit. I just no, he hits the one in the balls, drags it to the ground, and then hits it in the stomach.
Dude, one of them, he just like fucking right in the center of the head. I'm like, damn, I wish this was rated R.
Yeah. And then it almost like for the amount of violence in that movie, like
There's
there
no
was
blood.
I know, but if there was blood, that would have been over the top.
Would have been beautiful.
Because there's scenes like what about when Aragorn runs up to that orc and he gets knocked to the ground, and then the orc goes to stab him and he cuts his entire leg off.
That was so cool.
Yeah. So they're fighting hardcore on the wall,
You don't have to drink that.
and then at one point Gimli is standing up on the wall, just going 21, 22, and it like pans out to show the scope of the battle, and you hear Gimli's voice booming over the battle.
Having the most fun he's ever had in his life.
If I was a human in that fight and I hear Gimli listing, like counting off people he's killed, I'd be like, yo, I think we got this. Like, that's such a morale boost.
It definitely would have motivated me to be like, I have 17.
Yeah, I'll be there too eventually. Then it starts cutting to the humans getting their ass. That one orc who like headbutts the guy and puts him against the wall and punches him in the face until he dies.
I love the brutality in these.
Yeah.
things. That's why if this, it doesn't need to be rated R though. That's the thing.
It's violent enough. You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't really need any help. It's a fucking sword and
Like
sandal.
I'm watching this, I'm like, I wish I can just put this on when Riley's in the room, but
Yeah.
she would have nightmares forever.
I saw this when I was 10, and it didn't give me nightmares, but I was like, I want this. I thought it was.
When she's 10, maybe, but she's
Yeah.
5.
Then the Olympic torch come
That's
sprinting in.
hilarious. They have the little bombs. Oh no, I need to talk about this one scene because it's hilarious. The scene when Salomon and Worm
Grim
Tongue,
and Worm Tongue.
Salomon's getting like the gunpowder and everything
Yeah,
made,
he's making the
and
bomb.
fucking Worm Tongue brings the
He
candle
walks
over,
over with a candle to like.
and Salomon just goes, "No, no, no, that is directly from Army of Darkness."
Yeah, well,
No, it is that exact theme.
exact
They play
scene.
that exactly, and I believe that Peter Jackson's like, okay,
Yeah,
because a lot of this movie, I'm thinking of Army of Darkness.
yeah, it was like Army of Darkness.
They have like the scene where they're training, getting ready. They have
Yeah,
a scene
yeah.
when the bad guys are getting all hyped up.
Yeah.
That scene was directly from Army of Darkness, which is good. Like, I'm not saying
Yeah,
it's
no, I know.
stupid.
Um,
You're just like stupid Army of Darkness.
no,
You have to bring it up.
I like that movie. Um, that was another movie I saw when I was a kid and thought it was a fever dream. It's like,
No, Evil Dead 2, I thought it was because I remember being a kid and I saw Evil Dead 2, but then I ended up seeing a poster or something on the internet, so I bought Evil Dead 1, and I'm like, this isn't how I remember it
yeah,
because it's so similar.
it's the same movie.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Evil Dead 2 is a little more. I want them to do an edit where they make Evil Dead 1
Anyway,
different
back
than
to
Evil Dead
this.
2.
So everybody's fighting. The Olympic torch guy comes sprinting forward. Bring him down, and then
He gets lit up too.
he kind of does the Boromir thing where he like drops for a second, and then he's like, "Fuck it," dives in and blows himself up, and the fucking wall explodes, and
Where the orcs just breach it.
and that CGI explosion still looked good.
Yeah.
I like how when it does the far away shot, like pieces from the wall are falling into the army.
Like a lot of the CGI in this movie are good, but there are some scenes like when Legolas goes to jump on a horse.
And he does that weird like
He does the weird thing. It's like your body shouldn't have went that
yeah,
way.
his physics were all over the place.
That was like him doing the move, and the animators being like, "Let's drag the body up there."
He could have just grabbed it and went like this, but they made him like start to go this way and then swing around the other.
Yeah.
It looked weird, but
Yeah.
whatever. Oh, that scene's cool when he's standing up on the hill and the wargs are coming and he's just sniping them before they get close.
When he's like skateboarding down the thing on the field.
I hated that scene when I was a kid
Dude, it's awesome.
because I was like, that's so stupid. Because the whole rest of the movie is like incredibly serious and intense, and then there's a skateboard scene, and I was like, that's dumb. That
Yeah,
doesn't
but
fit.
he's crafty.
Yeah, he's an elf. I'm cool with it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Aragorn gets like blown up and he's laying face down in the mud, and the Uruk-hai comes sprinting in, and Gimli's like, Aragorn, and he just dives into the center. And then Aragorn is like, oh shit, Gimli, and then Gimli gets knocked over and he's in the water, and then fire, and like like 50 arrows go flying past his head and kill a bunch of Uruk-hai, and then he's like, swords. And then
Dude, that was so brutal too. What if Gimli got up?
yeah, I know. Well, that's why he waited until Gimli was on the ground, thankfully. And then yeah, they just sprint in, killing people with swords, and they fight and they fight and they fight, and then Theoden's like, fuck this, retreat, get back to the keep. The wall is lost. So they all run back to the keep, and then they get that battering ram out, and they do the ram, and then all the guys, then they
You have that one guy just impaled by the ram too.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
awesome.
But I do like that scene where like they slam into the wall and it cuts to the humans and they all get thrown back and then they all just run back in and shoulder rush the wall. It's so cool.
So it's just about the point where Elrond, what's his name? Why do I always forget his name?
No. He doesn't ride in until the very end.
Yeah, the orcs get inside the wall.
No, we're still at the keep. This is where Theoden it went wall and then it went keep, where so this time they're like running up into the stairs, and it's just like the last one is when it's just a handful of them and they do the final ride out. This is when they still have like, this is toss the dwarf scene.
Oh, I
Yeah.
felt so bad for Gimli.
Toss me.
He's like, just don't tell the elf.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't tell the elf.
I like that scene too where Aragorn is holding onto Gimli's belt and they're just spinning in a circle. That's like what you would do in that situation, just back to back. Gimli's swinging left and right with his axe. Aragorn's parrying and slashing, and he's just holding on to him, and they're just covering each other's back perfectly. And then Legolas throws him a rope, and they climb out.
You know the best thing about these movies too? I do not remember this one and Return of the King at all.
Good.
Like I'm watching this movie and I'm like, I remember some of it, but because I've only seen these ones once.
Yeah.
I've seen Fellowship probably like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
So
And they wind up, so the keep gets lost, and more of their guys die. So go up to the castle now, and it's like just the five of them left. And Theoden's like, there's no point in fighting anymore. And Aragorn's like, you said you would defend this castle so long as there's, or you would die defending this castle or whatever.
No, he was pretty much like, you promised these people you would defend it, and they're still there fighting.
Yeah, so what the fuck are you doing? And they're like stacking benches and trying to keep this thing sealed.
Theoden's like, damn it, you're right.
No, he goes, what can men do against such reckless hate? And then Aragorn's like, ride out and face it. And he's like, yes, yes.
So we need our lives now.
Today is the day I get to draw swords with you. And it's like, fuck yeah. And then he's like, what is he? He doesn't do the ride for ruin ride. And the red sun rise, or today's a sword day. And then fucking doors fly open, Orakai come running in. There's 6 guys on horses, and they got the banners. Like, this is it. This is the last stand for Rohan. Oh, another scene I like a lot is when the wall blows up. It cuts to the people, like the women and children, and that one lady is just screaming hysterically. Because, like, what else would you do in that situation?
That is one of the things I was mad at Game of Thrones about when they were all hiding in the basement.
Yeah.
They really weren't acting like they were free.
A lot of people compare Helm's Deep to the Siege of Winterfell, and it's
I love
like,
that scene. It wasn't too dark.
I gotta say, there's no comparison. Helm's Deep is fucking miles
It was
above it.
cool though.
It wasn't as cool as Helm's Deep though.
Yeah, but it's fucking Helm's Deep, bro.
So Gimli runs up to the top and he blows the horn of Helm Hammerhand one last time, and they fucking charge down and they're fighting, and then look to the in 7 days, look to the east, and I will return. And Aragorn looks up to the east on top of this hill, and there's Gandalf, fucking, and all,
Shining.
and Aragorn's like, Gandalf, yes, and but it's like, dude, it's just Gandalf. Then the entire Rohirrim show up behind him, and Theoden's like, Emir's like, for Rohan, and they all charge down, and then all the Orcai like reform ranks and get their pikes down, and they're ready. And then they come over the crest of the hill, and the fucking sun blasts them all in the eyes, and they all flinch at the last second.
Can't know if that was like a solar flare.
Oh, he definitely was making it 5 times as bright. And then the 2,000 fucking riders just cavalry
Roar.
charge. Great, like just.
I love how you're seeing like them with their spears up, and you see some of them just like jumping over it and like going under and stuff.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, that one where they get the spears and the charge inside the keep, where you see Aragorn do like the around the. I was like, that's what you would do.
It's pretty much all the orcs are like, shit, we need to get out of here. And this is when they all flee into the forest.
And then the forest
The end,
devours
and all
them.
them just
That the forest. Remember, because Mary's like, the forest is moving, and he goes, they are going their way. We are going to Saruman. And then they fuck up Saruman, and he's trapped in his house, and he's super scared. And then Merry and Pippin find fucking old Toby, and they're like, 1 barrel for you, 1 barrel for me. And they get high as fuck, and Treebeard finds
I
them.
love to see Treebeard like peeking, like, what?
What are you doing?
See all the smoke coming out.
Yeah.
But wait, I gotta pee.
Yeah. We also get to talk about Faramir. Boromir's brother. That scene, the extended scene with Boromir in the armor, like,
He looks so cool.
I know.
I was thinking about like that's my favorite armor.
And then he's like, fucking, we took back Osgiliath, and then they'll never take it from us again. And then his dad shows up, and they're both like, he's like, Dad, he's a good kid. And he's like, yeah, but he's not you. And he's like, you gotta stop doing that. Like, such a dick. We wouldn't have had to retake it if you held it in the first place, Faramir. It's like, dude, stop. You know, reading it. Yeah, second piece. Yeah. I keep saying it, but like, why you're fucking coming around to realize what things are. You know what sucks though now is you're gonna watch other movies and you're like, can't it just be as good as Lord of the Rings? Why can't everyone be in a concert? I can't we have cool music? I can't be distracted with that. We should use concerning Hobbit for the intro for every Lord of the Rings video you do.
I like how the beginning of the last one worked out with us being like, hi.
Yeah.
All right, so we got 35 minutes until 8. Let's try to cut this. We only have a little bit left.
Well, we gotta talk about, we gotta do all the whole Farmier story. So for like the last 35, let's just talk about Farmier.
Just because I already told Keith we'd do it.
So let's just pick it up with them finding the Olifant.
Well, we got to start with Gollum, Frodo, and Sam go
Yeah.
through dead marshes. That was a cool scene.
That was cool. Oh, and that's when they reveal the Nazgul can fly.
Who?
The Nazgul, the ring
Oh,
race.
yeah, they have the little thingies.
They
What's
got
Gollum say? Think there?
Run on the wing.
Something like they have claws or something like that.
No, he's like, "Right, on the wings."
I'm
So
gonna put Gollum's song at the beginning of this. You want Concerning Hobbits just be our intro song for everything?
I would love that, but I think we'd get sued eventually.
That long.
I know, but still.
Oh, let me see what you said. No.
So the Battle of Helm's Deep is won. Theoden is in his right mind. Aemir and his Rohirrim have come back to the kingdom, and yeah, everything's right with the human side of this conflict.
For now.
And then it kind of cuts over to Sam and Frodo, and they're walking through a marsh with Gollum, and Gollum's like, "Don't look into the water. Don't look into the light. Just keep coming with me."
The dead marsh.
Yeah, the dead marshes. It was there was a great battle between the orcs and the first men and elves
So the soul's like stuck in the water.
stuck in the water.
That's brutal.
Yeah. And so like as they're walking, there's just like corpses like right under the surface.
Now, did the ring make Frodo stop and look?
No,
Or
I,
was it
I
Frodo's
think
curiosity.
I think well remember what Gollum said, don't look into the light.
Yeah.
So I think the marsh like got him, you
Mm.
know? Like whatever evil magic was in the marsh got Frodo to fall into it.
That's a cool scene. He falls in, and all like the spears just go and try to take
Yeah,
him.
like they start surrounding him, and then a hand pulls him out, and it reveals to be Gollum. He saved him.
He loves his master.
Yeah. Which is the ring, but you know why he wouldn't let him drown. He wants that ring.
No, I personally think at this point, in,
This is Smeagol, not Gollum, right
Yeah.
now. Yeah. Oh yeah, 'cause he has that scene where he's like, and then
yeah,
you know, like and then so they decide oh yeah, and then there's you see the Easterlings show up, right? With the cool armor and
Mm.
stuff. And they decide and then you see the Black Gate of Mordor, which is like the official entrance into Mordor, but there's also a behind the scenes way to get in. Whoa,
are you okay?
swallowed something.
Drink your medicine.
The way you keep saying it makes it seem like I'm drinking like lean or something, you know?
It tastes like medicine.
Yeah. Anyway, so Sam is like laying on a rock and he's like, I think I found a way in. Then the rock falls and he gets buried. And he's like, fuck! And then like 2 of the Easterlings come over, and then Frodo uses the elven cloak to like disguise them, and they look like a rock. And it
Like they never noticed Frodo and Sam until they got right in front of them.
because nobody pays attention to hobbits, you know?
Yeah.
That's like that's the whole point of like giving the ring to a hobbit. Nobody would think you would give it to a hobbit because you would just give it to like one of the badass elves or Aragorn or someone.
This is where Gollum's like
No, we can't go through the.
They'll find it. You can't bring it through him or whatever.
a horrible impression to
Yeah.
Gollum.
I used to be it when I was younger. My voice was higher pitched. I was able to do it way better. I can't even fake the cough anymore. It hurts.
No, at this point, Gollum's like, no, we can go this back path. And Sam's like, why didn't you tell us this? And he's like, you didn't ask.
Yeah.
All right, guess we can't argue with that,
Yeah.
Gollum.
And what happens next?
This is when
Oh.
the Rangers come.
They do where since Smeagol's being super cool and shit, he brings some rabbits over to Frodo, and he's like literally like bites into it, and he starts eating it. And Sam's like, "You'll make him sick." There's one way to he calls them conies, which is like an old English term for rabbit. I had to look that up because I was like, "The fuck's a coney? Is that like Lord of the Rings version of a rabbit?" And it's like, no, that's just something from 100 years ago. So then Sam is like, "We need taters." Potatoes. And he goes, potatoes, boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. And then that became one of the first internet memes.
Can I say, I know Sam is very like well intentioned, but he's such a dick in this movie.
He sees right through it. He knows what's
Poor
it.
Gollum.
It's not until the very last scene when he's being nice to him
Yeah.
that like Sam has been tricked. But up until then, he's like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah,
know?
I personally think if they were just super nice to him and didn't betray him,
They didn't mean to betray him, and that's what Sam tried
Well,
to explain to him.
he should have said you were going to be killed. That's the only way you could have.
That's what he did. He was like, Master Frodo did what he could,
He
you know?
meant you no harm. We did.
We
what
meant you
could
no
to
harm.
protect you.
Exactly. We were trying to protect you.
Oh,
Yeah. But Gollum had already switched from Smeagol to back to Gollum, so he was going to kill him no matter what.
Also said he loved Frodo so much.
Yeah.
And he put up a fat hobbit.
So anyway, the whole time they're doing anyway, so the whole time they're talking about potatoes, there's like this weird bird in the background. Did you notice that? That whole scene, the Rangers are doing their bird calls to each other. And that's when Frodo notices it, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then he walks over, and they see it's an Oliphant. No one back in the Shire will believe us. And then it gets attacked by Gondorian Rangers, and they fuck shit up. And then they capture the pair because Gollum like notices and flees. And then Boromir gives some whole speech about like they're like, "Who are you?" And they're like, "We can't tell you. You know, we're on a secret mission." And he's like, "You're not a Mordor spy." And he goes, "Do I look like a Mordor spy?" And he walks over to the dead body and he goes, "Does that guy look like a warrior? I don't know who he was. He could have been someone's brother, someone's father. Doesn't matter. He's here and he's dead now. So who are you?" Kind of like just explaining like war sucks and I will kill you. And then he takes him into custody and takes him to a cave. And it's kind of like parses it out that they have the one ring based on the fact that like Gollum's following them and Frodo's like being super sketchy about this like thing around his neck. And he figures out that there's the one ring, and then they talk about Boromir, and Frodo's like, "I knew him," and he's like, "Well, then it would pain you to know he's dead." And then Frodo's like, "How? What?" You know, like really like, and that's when Boromir's like, "Shit, he does know Boromir."
Yeah.
And then this is another thing in the books they don't really tell you, but like Boromir and Boromir have like prophetic dreams. Like they have dreams where they can see the future, they can like see things.
All right.
That's what the scene with the boat in the water was. Faramir, like that's how he knew his brother died, because he found in like a weird dream he found his brother dead in a boat.
It makes more sense.
Yeah,
Because the whole time you're like, how do you find out?
yeah. He had a dream about it. Like the whole reason Boromir was even at the council in the first place was to ask Elrond about these fucking crazy dreams he's been having about like an eye and fire and or not an eye but fire and in the east and a light in the west and stuff like that. And anyway, so Faramir has a flashback to Boromir and him capturing Osgiliath back, and Osgiliath was the capital of Gondor up until like Sauron became a thing. Started attacking the city every week, and Boromir looks super sick in Gondor armor.
Dude, that armor
Yeah.
Might be my favorite armor in like a lot of these type of movies.
And he gives a really good speech. And then he's like,
Something about the cape.
yeah, and then he's like, "Ale for the men, drink." Or no, he said something like, "Drink not because you have to, but drink because this is a good time," or something like that. Like, this is a good time, so we should be drinking.
Now was this whole scene just in the extended cut?
Yeah,
They cut his whole story
yeah.
out, and it's
They
so,
cut his whole story
he
out.
has one of the coolest stories in the whole
Yeah.
movies.
So then they're having like Boromir and Faramir are like they're like brothers and best friends.
Yeah.
Like when they see each other, they're like, "Dude, we fucking did it!" And they hug and they're having a fucking grand old time. And then Denethor comes walking through the crowd,
Ugh.
and Boromir says something like, "We can't have one single minute of joy," because like they hate their dad. And he walked off and he's like, "Oh, Boromir, my favorite son. I'm so happy you did this." And then Boromir's like, "Dude, I couldn't have done it without Faramir." And he's like, "If Faramir hadn't lost the city in the first place, we wouldn't have need you to come and fix his mistake."
Ugh.
And then Boromir's like, come talk to me. And they go talk away from Faramir. And he's like,
you need to cut the
"You
shit.
need to be nice. That's your goddamn kid." And he's like, "Yeah, but I don't
He's
need
a failure.
I don't need a second son when I have you."
It's like, damn, bro.
Yeah, and then they got to send someone to the Council of Elrond, and Boromir volunteers, and he goes, "No, you'll just fuck it up. You go, Boromir."
Like kicking the balls.
Yeah, and then it cuts back to Boromir just being like, "I hate my fucking dad so much," and then
I need to bring him this ring to make him happy.
to regain my honor and stuff like that.
Ugh.
And then they capture Gollum, who's singing a really cool song about a fish in a pool, and they beat the shit out of him. Like beat the shit. Like at one
Yeah.
point, some guy's holding him like this, and they're just punching him in the face and in the stomach.
Mm.
And then they're like, "Tell us everything you know," and that's how they confirm that he has the ring. And then Frodo's still lying about the ring, and then finally he's like, "You know what? Fine, I got the fucking one ring, and I gotta go to Mount Doom, or we're all gonna die."
He gets a sword. He's like, oh yeah?
Yeah.
What's this?
And then Sam tries to explain, like, "You want to know where your brother died? Because he betrayed us. The ring drove him mad, and it'll drive you mad. You gotta let us go." He's like, "Nope, we're going back to Osgiliath." So they walk back to Osgiliath, and the second in command comes out, and he's like, "Yo, we're about to get attacked." Oh no, they do that cool scene where they're walking through, and it's like they took the East Bank, and like you see the Gondorian archers just like shooting from behind rubble at each other constantly. And
So nerve wracking.
Yeah.
Imagine being stuck in a situation with a fucking bow like that.
everyone's just shooting at you, and then occasionally a rock is lobbed in your direction. And then eventually a Nazgul attacks, and Faramir sees like what the ring is doing to Frodo because Frodo's standing on a wall, like letting the Nazgul about to take him. And
It was the whole scene with Sam talking him down, and he's like, damn, I can see why now.
that was after Sam tackles Frodo to save him from the Nazgul, and Faramir shoots the Nazgul, which makes it fly away. And then Frodo pulls a sword on Sam, and Sam's like, "It's me, it's your Sam, it's me, it's Sam."
Oh,
like,
Sam, my dear Sam.
and then he puts it down, and then Faramir's like, "Fuck, it does drive you crazy." And then he's like, "Okay, you can leave." And they're like, "What path are you taking?" And they're like, "We're gonna take the mountain path." And then Faramir's like, "What's it called?" And then as soon as the two Osgiliath is the city. So as soon as the two hobbits get a little bit ahead, he fucking grabs Gollum and he slams him against the wall, and he's like, "I know what if you fucking lead them to her, you better hope you don't fucking find me."
I don't know what her is yet.
Nope.
Find out, I guess.
Mhm.
If I decide to watch the next one,
You will.
like, I'll kill you.
Yep. And then as they're walking away, like Gimli, Gollum's like kind of limping and he's all broken and sad. And then Sam turns around and he's like, "Hey, thanks for helping us, and we're really sorry you caught a beating, but we were only doing it to protect you or whatever." And he's like, "It's okay," or whatever. But at this point, it's not Smeagol anymore; it's Gollum, and he's like,
Yeah, he's playing him.
"Yeah,
That was sad too, because I think that was the point where Sam's like, you know what?
he ain't so bad."
He's a good little guy.
Yeah.
Ugh, poor Gollum, dude. I'll say that till the end.
Well, he's not all that innocent.
Spoilers.
I mean, how do you think you get the one ring in the first place? You can't be a decent person.
He just found it. He stumbled upon it.
Choke eagle to death.
He never choked anybody.
Okay,
It's fake.
fake news. So is that the movie? Oh, it cuts to Gandalf giving a speech or whatever about how like it's still going on. The war for Middle Earth has begun and stuff like that.
Yeah, this is when Gollum's talking to him. He's like, "Well, bring the ring to her,"
Yeah,
and then it leads him to her, and it's the end.
yeah.
So yeah,
And then the third one, in the tradition of the first one, picks up right over where the second one left off.
didn't they film these two at the same time?
They filmed them like
They filmed Fellowship by itself, and then these two at the same time.
back to back. Yeah,
That's nuts. Imagine filming with all the extra scenes and everything. Holy shit.
yeah.
Fuck that.
It's because
We are living in what country was it?
the United States,
Switzerland? Where they film Lord of
New
the Rings?
Zealand.
New Zealand?
Yeah,
Yep.
but it was like, it's like, so the first movie took like 5 years to make. Like we can't make people wait 15 years to get all 3 movies. That's insane. We'll make them wait like 8. All right.
Worked out. One thing I want to talk about. I hate you so much. You're putting that right near the microphone.
Okay. Anyway, you opened a beer directly into it. Don't fucking get on me.
Oh yeah. All right. So one thing I wanted to mention is when they're doing the battle of like the castle and everything, how cool is the miniature sets they have
Yeah,
with all like the ants walking and everything?
dude.
Masterful. They don't do that anymore.
This movie is, it's hard to tell what's CGI, what's a miniature.
I
what
think
isn't.
that whole scene with the ants and everything was miniatures.
It was mostly CGI, dude. Are you kidding me? All those ends were CGI.
Yeah, when they're big, but when you see like the tall ones walking to the castle and throwing stuff, I think
Yeah.
a lot of that was.
Or it just tricked you because whoever was the CGI artist was really good.
You know what? I think you are a piece of shit.
I liked I don't know. The only character I didn't like is Aowen, but that's just because
She was annoying.
she was annoying and her actress sucked.
I didn't think she was that bad.
I like the part where Theoden cries in front of his son's grave. No father should have to bury a child.
Yeah.
And it's like, rough.
You didn't mention the badass Gandalf quote. The battle for Helm's Deep is over, but the battle for Middle Earth is about to begin.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, it's a good quote. No, I think we said the other ones.
Yeah. You didn't even do the good quotes.
Like, well, why? You should remember something.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's a lot of good quotes. Everything Theoden says is awesome.
I think Gimli says.
Yeah, everything.
Aragorn
Gimli's-
had a bunch of good ones. Too.
Aragorn had a lot of good lines. Fucking, I wish I could remember the Gandalf one where Gimli's like, he's a grumpier Gandalf than I remember because he says something like, "You're a dumb fucking dwarf," and Gimli's like, "Jesus."
So he was basically like, "Stop fretting."
Yeah, stop fighting. It does us no good, or something like that. And he's like,
Gimli's like, "This one's grumpier than the last one."
what a great movie.
It was pretty good. I think it's Attack of the Clones quality.
Yeah. You could definitely tell Attack of the Clones wanted to be this.
It's so bad.
They wanted the giant battle. They wanted the weird love story. They wanted it so, and they just failed. Like, how do you make a battle between robots and clones boring? You know?
I don't know. I think Fellowship was better.
I like Fellowship more, but Two Towers I think is the
I
better
think-
movie.
Fellowship's the better movie. Two Towers is the more fanboy, like watch all this stuff happen.
Yeah.
And then Return of the King, we will see.
I like how Fellowship is like focuses like the Shire and like the forest. And then this one was all like open fields and Rohan.
Well, the thing with this movie is they didn't need all the exposition to like introduce the characters
Yeah.
and everything. So
Everything
it's just
was
like
already-
straight into the fucking action.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.